Assalamu alaikum. Welcome back to another video of Peter Pan, chapter number 2, The Shadow. In this video, today we'll be focusing about the detailed summary, character development, themes and symbols, literary devices, analysis, and interpretation. I hope so. The previous video that I have uploaded regarding the chapter number 1 was quite clear to all of you. So let's move on to our chapter number 2, The Shadow. Before starting the video, I do apologize that for not uploading this video too earlier. It was quite bit late because of few issues that I was being facing. So without wasting any time, let us begin with our video. So here is a very short and quick overview of chapter number 2. The setting of this chapter is still continued in the Darlings nursery at night. The main event that we have encountered in this chapter was Peter Pan returns to nursery to retrieve his shadow and meets Wendy's darling. The key plot points of this chapter was Peter sneak into the nursery searching for shadow. He tried to reattach the shadow with the soap, but it fails. During that, Wendy awakened and helped him to sew it back. They bond and discuss the Neverland, and Wendy agreed to go with him and beginning their adventure. So it's a kind of a, you could say, the smaller chunks of chapter number 2, which it's kind of a mind map that what might be happening in this chapter. Peter's frustration shows his immaturity. Wendy's nurturing nature shines as she comforts him, sewing the shadow symbolizes emotional connection, and their dialogue reveal the innocence versus maturity. So while we are reading the chapter, we came to know that when Wendy and Peter Pan they were having a kind of sort of a conversation among each other. So what we get to know that about the nature of Peter Pan and the nature of Wendy. The way Peter Pan was dealing and talking with Wendy was quite immature. Likewise, if we do recall the event when he was sobbing and crying for his shadow, and later on, Wendy came and sewed that shadow with Peter's feet. Instead of showing the act of gratitude of being thankful of Wendy for helping and sorting out him with the struggle that he was encountering with his shadow reattachment or retrieving the shadow. So he didn't thank to Wendy at all. And on the other hand, the way Wendy dealt with Peter Pan was quite mature, and the way she talked about the motherly love and the feelings regarding a person is having was quite mature. So, the next thing is that about the character development of Peter Pan is he was having a childlike person and quite naive, proud and arrogant, proud innocence of his youthfulness, of his small age, being very younger. He was very proud of that. Emotional and sensitive. We can see his emotional insensitivity when that he was failed to retrieving his shadow with himself, and he was begin to sobbing at that time. And along with that, the fear of growing up. The things that was developing in chapter number 2 in his personality was that Peter is adventurous yet emotionally incomplete. So how emotional incomplete he was because he don't know about the motherly love. So he don't know about any kind of a feelings that a child or a human used to kept within itself. Then later on, if we do discuss about the character development of Wendy Darling, she was caring and motherly love. She was having curious and romantic, responsible yet dreamy. And the development we can see from her nature from yet till now, chapter number 1 till 2, when she represents the emotional balance between fantasy and the reality. So the themes that we'll be having are the theme of childhood and innocence. Childhood wonders and imagination dominate in this chapter. Peter inability to fix his shadow and shows the fragility of innocence. Wendy's care reflect the gentle maturity. in this chapter, the childhood and the innocence that is being fluctuating within this chapter. After that, the theme of growing up versus staying young. Peter rejects the adulthood, and Wendy begins to exploring it. Like um, we can see this kind of a contradiction between Peter and Wendy. She was quite mature as compared to Peter Pan. So Peter believes in the usefulness, staying young, and never wants to grow up. As a kind of that, he was having a fear of growing up, that he would be losing all his naivety, his innocence, and the fun that yet now he, as a child, he's enduring, and might be he's having a kind of a fear within his pride thought in his subconscious mind that as soon as he'll be growing up, he will be lost all these things. On the other hand, Wendy wants to explore the taste of the adulthoodness, that how that adult life feels like. On the other hand, sewing symbolizes the Wendy attempt to complete Peter and the contrast between the freedom of youth and responsibility of maturity. After that, the gender roles and maternal instincts. We might remember that scene if you have seen in the movie when Wendy was sewing Peter's shadow with his foot. When he was yapping a lot, she was talking a lot. On the other hand, what did Peter Pan responds that girls talk a lot, which shows the gender roles that might be reflecting a kind of a age reflection that at that time, because of the patriarchy, the male dominating society, they won't let the women to speak a lot, to speak up their heart, to speak up their thoughts, whatsoever is being going inside of a woman, they won't let up a woman to speak. Similarly, the thing Peter has done with Wendy when she was telling and she was yapping and she was talking a lot, the things that under her enthusiasm she was saying all those things. So Peter shut her by saying that the girls talk a lot, which shows that the gender roles within the novel as well. Uh, Wendy's nurturing mirror Victorian ideal of womanhood. Peter expects Wendy to act like a mother. This reflects the traditional gender expectations even in a fantasy. So Peter being male, he was expecting Wendy to be a mother, like she has to do her motherly duties, like taking care and enduring the love and all the motherly duties a woman is having. So in that Victorian era, and still the women were retrieving for their freedom. So how as in the Peter Pan, the woman, you could say that some aspect of feminism is being reflected. So not being deviating from the major point, we'll be having some glimpses of the feminism within the this video. After that, the symbolism in the shadow, it reflects that it represents the Peter's identity, lost innocence, and emotional connection. On the other hand, sewing it back show the temporary reconnection with the humanity. Fine, like without the shadow, Peter itself is not having any kind of identity. Like he don't have powers. Fine, and his shadow is like having the innocence, all his innocence and a kind of emotional connection, and that we have seen this thing that the Captain Hook, he also tried to snatch the Peter's shadow so that he would not able to retrieve and back to his innocence. So if we could say that his all innocence lies within his shadow. After that, the act of sewing, what does it symbolizes? It symbolizes the restoration and the nurture when you repair emotionally and physically, Peter, and foreshadow her future role as a mother to the lost boys. Fine. A kind of a connection is showing that when she was sewing Peter's shadow with his foot, it represents the restoration and the nurture. Like restoration means like she's trying to restoring um, something that is broken, and she's repairing something emotionally and physically, like she was trying to restoring Peter Pan, who was emotionally and physically broke somehow, like a child who has never endured the motherly love and the love that child should have, that is not being get from the Peter. So Peter has never endured such kind of a love, so he don't understand this thing. After that, imagery. J.M. Barrie used the vivid imagery to evoke the magic. So whenever we are reading the novel, we as a reader, we as an audience, we are able to uh, imagine all the scenes that we have been reading. After the metaphor and the symbolism, the shadow show the identity, the window show the gateway between the worlds, like Neverland and the real world. Sewing symbolizes about emotional bonding, and soap shows the childish solution, symbolizing the Peter immaturity. Like he was trying to rubbing the soap with his foot and trying to reattaching that shadow with his self. Like it shows his immaturity and the childish mindset he was having. After that, the dialogue and the tone. The dialogue reveals the innocence and the humor, and Peter is playful yet arrogant, and Wendy is polite and caring. How he was arrogant later in the chapter number 3, we get to know about his arrogancy in his careless nature and his careless attitude. Whereas the tone is very whimsical yet tinged and with the sadness and the longing. This is the basic tone and the mood of the novel. So the physical and emotional and psychological layers, we can see that Peter missing shadow, which show the missing emotional depth, Wendy nurturing for desire for the connection. These both sides represent the psyche of freedom and the responsibility. So the key takeaway of this chapter was the central theme of identity of innocence and growth. Wendy and Peter bonds that set the tone for the novel. The symbols, imagery, and that reveal the deep emotional truth. Now, in this chapter, in the end of the video, I would be given the deep analysis of chapter number 2 so that you can get chunks and or all the major points regarding this video. So, in chapter number 2, the shadow is a pivotal moment in Peter Pan. Likewise, it reveals the James Barrie mastery of blending the fantasy with the psychological depth, and the shadow functions as both the literal and the symbolic element in this chapter, which represent the fragmentic identity and the inability to connect emotionally and the resistance to the growth. So, if we do start it with the very beginning key events of the chapter, when Nana charges into the nursery and lunging into the Peter and try to when Peter was trying to escaping, Nana quickly with the help of her reflexes, he jumped into the window. When Peter was sleeping out from the window, she captures a piece of Peter Pan, means his shadow. So Mrs. Darling carefully tuck the shadow into a drawer and awaits the right moment to tell her husband about the incident. After the right opportunity doesn't arise until a week later, while the couple are getting ready to attend a dinner party, Mrs. Darling produced Peter's shadow, but Mr. Darling doesn't make it much of it. As the man of the house, or you could say the being a very practical man, he don't used to believe in such kind of a fable or the fantasy based stories. He just considered them as the fictional and the kind of a story which is not having any kind of existence within reality. So there follow a lengthy scene when Mr. Darling chides Michael and Darling for not taking his medicine like a man, but then refuses to take his own. Instead of like in the scene, he was just trying to showing that the Michael and John, to be a man, they have to act like a man. They don't have to cry for taking a medicine. but he himself, he also was a bit hesitant, and he just hate the Madisons as well. uh, it in what will prove the life-changing error, Mr. Darling pours his medicine into the Nana's water bowl. Then, because he is upset, then the family is angry at him for doing this to your dog. He drags Nana outside and ties her up in a backyard. This proved to be his second grave mistake. After that, Nana starts barking, but only Wendy Darling realizes she isn't upset about being tied up. That is the bark when she smells the danger. Wendy says that Mrs. Darling locks the window, and she and Mr. Darling leave. That is when the stars, who are so fond of the fun that they were on the side of tonight, a signal to a Peter Pan that grown-ups are finally gone. So this was all about the chapter, that these were the key events that happened, that how this all scene happened. So in the chapter number 3, we will learn more. So this is how the chapter number 2 ends, and in the next video we'll be having the chapter number 3. So that's all for the video. Thank you and take care. Allah Hafiz.